The silence stretched, an unspoken truce settling between Logan and the dragons. It wasn't exactly comfortable, but it was enough to buy him time, and in a room like this, time was everything. Logan paced the cell, his boots scuffing the strange, volcanic floor, while the dragons watched him with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. He wasn't sure if they were amused or deciding whether to eat him anyway. "Okay," Logan muttered to himself, rubbing the back of his neck as he walked. "Step 1, don't die. Step 2, get out of this place. Step 3, figure out how the hell to make aliens pay for this." The smaller dragon let out a sound that almost resembled a snort. Logan glanced back at it, arching an eyebrow. "Something funny?" he asked. "You talk much," the smaller dragon rumbled. Its voice was still as deep as the Earth's core but had a hint of something softer, almost teasing. "Talking keeps me from losing my mind," Logan shot back. He gestured at the walls. "You know, because being abducted by aliens and locked in a cell with dragons isn't exactly a normal Tuesday for me." The larger dragon's gaze was steady, unblinking. "You are afraid." Logan stopped pacing. He turned slowly, meeting the creature's molten eyes. "Yeah," he admitted. "Of course I'm afraid. I'd have to be insane not to be. But you know what I'm not doing? Curling up in a ball and waiting to die. Fear keeps me sharp, keeps me moving. You should try it sometime." The dragons exchanged a glance, a look Logan couldn't interpret, and for a brief second, he wondered if he'd pushed too far. Then the larger dragon settled back into a resting position, its massive head low to the ground. "You are strange, human," it said again, its tone carrying a faint undercurrent of approval this time. "Yeah, well, get used to it," Logan replied. He turned his attention back to the cell. Something about the place still didn't sit right with him, beyond the obvious fact that he was imprisoned with fire-breathing monsters. No doors. No windows. The walls were too smooth, too deliberate. The more he stared, the more it felt like they were alive, like the cell was watching him as much as the dragons were. "You guys ever wonder what this room is made of?" Logan asked, crouching down to run his hand across the floor again. It was warm, yes, but there was something deeper, a faint vibration, like a heartbeat. The smaller dragon shifted slightly. "It is a prison." "Yeah, I got that part," Logan muttered. He leaned closer to the ground, narrowing his eyes as he inspected it. "But it's not just stone. There's something else here. Something alive." The larger dragon tilted its head, regarding him carefully. "You feel it." Logan looked up sharply. "You feel it too, don't you?" The dragons didn't answer, but their silence spoke volumes. Logan stood and started pacing again, his mind racing. It wasn't just a prison. It was a test. Everything about this place, the dragons, the walls, the impossible heat, felt deliberate, like some twisted experiment set in motion by whatever species had abducted him. They were watching. Somewhere, someone was watching, waiting to see what would happen. "They want something," Logan said aloud, his voice gaining strength. "The aliens, whoever they are. They didn't put us in here by accident. This is a test." "A test for what?" the smaller dragon asked, its amber eyes narrowing. Logan stopped. He turned to face the creatures, his lips pressed into a grim line. "To see if we kill each other." The words hung heavy in the air, settling like a lead weight in the pit of Logan's stomach. The dragons didn't deny it. Instead, the larger one's tail lashed against the floor, the sound like a whip crack echoing through the chamber. "They will be disappointed," the larger dragon growled. Logan blinked. "What?" "We will not kill you," the dragon said, its tone resolute. "It is not our nature." Logan stared at the creature, his mind struggling to process what he'd just heard. "Wait, hold on. You're telling me you don't eat people? Dragons don't eat humans?" The smaller dragon let out a huff of what could only be described as exasperation. "Human stories are foolish. We do not kill for sport." "Well, that's a relief," Logan said, exhaling a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. So what do we do, then? Just sit here and wait for the aliens to get bored? The dragons didn't answer, but Logan could see the flicker of frustration in their eyes. They were as trapped as he was, and they knew it. But Logan wasn't the type to sit around and do nothing, he never had been. If there was a way out of this place, he was going to find it. Right, Logan said, clapping his hands together. I don't know about you two, but I'm not staying in this cell for the rest of my life. There's gotta be a way out. The smaller dragon snorted. There is no escape. Oh, come on, Logan shot back, grinning despite himself. Where's your sense of optimism? I've gotten out of worse spots than this. The larger dragon's gaze remained steady. You are one man. What can you do? Logan pointed a finger at it, his grin widening. You'd be surprised. Humans are scrappy. We don't give up easy. The dragons exchanged another look, and this time Logan swore he saw the faintest glimmer of something like hope in their eyes. It wasn't much, but it was enough. He turned his attention back to the walls, his mind racing with possibilities. If the cell was alive, as he suspected, then there had to be a weakness somewhere, a seam, a crack, something he could exploit. First things first, Logan muttered, pressing his ear against the nearest wall. It was warm, pulsing faintly beneath his skin. Let's see if we can figure out what makes this place tick. He pulled back and looked over his shoulder at the dragons. You two want to help, or are you just gonna sit there and look pretty? The smaller dragon tilted its head. What do you need? Logan grinned. Teamwork. That's what I need. You two have size and strength, I've got a brain that's too stubborn to quit. If we put our heads together, we're gonna get out of this place. The larger dragon's tail thumped against the ground. It wasn't exactly a gesture of agreement, but it wasn't a refusal either. Logan took that as a win. All right then, he said, rolling up his sleeves. Let's get to work. As Logan began inspecting the walls for weaknesses, the dragons slowly rose to their feet, their movements deliberate but purposeful. They didn't say anything, but their presence was enough. For the first time since he'd been thrown into this nightmare, Logan felt like he wasn't alone. The aliens might have put him in a cell with monsters, but they'd underestimated one thing. Logan Malone wasn't a victim. He was a problem. And problems always found a way to bite back.